Oh my goodness. Guys, I hope you're ready for this. We have a huge show for you tonight. And if you watched last week, you saw we have some guest hosts. And if you've been paying attention to Facebook, you've seen it. Guys, I'm excited about tonight. I'm really, really excited. We've got a lot of guests. So we're going to jump right into this thing. Welcome to episode 76 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. We're going to have a blast on this episode. I promise you right now. I'm already missing Eric. He's on vacation this week. He needed a break. I get it. But dadgum, man, it's been a hustle over here. I'm telling you for sure. Well, in his place tonight, we have two amazing guest co-hosts, Redhat Scotty and Fro from Gearhead Perspective. Y'all, longtime friends. This is going to be a lot of fun. I promise you. We also are going to be talking about Miles of Mayhem with Taylor Hedrivk and CJ Roberts, who drove, that's right, the round trip from North Carolina to Canada, back to North Carolina in 1,500 horsepower stick shift Mustang. And we've got Lee and Larry Brooks, who were on Heads Up Hustle with me, and they're going to be talking about their 9-second F100 truck. This is going to be a blast. I hope you guys are ready. I'm going to hit this intro video because, Eric usually does that. I'm going to hit it this time, though, and we're going to get this thing started. Here we go.
We're going to pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
Well, that's right. We are live for episode 76 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show. And guys, let me bring on my co-host. After I introduce myself, my name is Mike Narks. I am the host of this show and the news, which covers everything Drag and Drive, everything, all your news and entertainment. We are the source for that right here. 3 hours of weekly live streaming right here, just talking about Drag and Drive stuff. And one of my co-hosts tonight, Mr. Fro, also a host of Gearhead Perspective podcast, which also talks about not just Drag and Drive stuff, but dude, all kinds of stuff. You guys cover what you're building, what things kind of tickle your fancy. You guys go over some for sale ads. I mean, it's really a lot of fun over there. Introduce yourself, tell everybody what you got going on and what that car is in the back.
You've already done the intro. The intro's covered. I'm Fro from Gearhead Perspective. If you've ever watched our show, it's me and Doherty and Bo. Doherty's a drag and drive guy. Bo's a drag and drive guy. I cruise, and that's what's behind me is a 1965 Ford Fairlane. It is a generational car. It's been handed down from my grandpa to my mom to me. My son is the fourth generation of hands on it. I love the car. Basically, tonight, if you guys are lucky, you're going to get to see me for about this amount of time because I'm going to drop off of here and I'm going to try and handle some of the background stuff. The good thing is I've worked with this system before, so
yep.
I enjoy just doing this. I don't understand why more people don't do this.
Oh, dude, I love podcasting. It's great, man. It tells so many stories. All right, well, let's bring on Mr. Redhat Scotty, a multi-time guest here. Dude, what's up with you? I love the background. Redhat Scotty runs Questionable Performance Solutions and is a very long-time drag and drive guy and helps so much. Anytime I have questions, he's the man I talk to. All right, dude, introduce yourself. Tell us what you got going on.
I don't know if I can beat that. That was a pretty good intro. But yes, I'm Redhat Scotty. I've been known to do drag and drives. I've been on this show a couple times. Thanks again, Narks. Eric, we miss you, buddy. Yeah. That's pretty much me in a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome tonight. So these two guys are going to basically take the mantle tonight and help with co-hosting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, y'all, let's get into this thing. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Obviously, first off, we got to thank our race car friends. Without our race car friends, which these two dudes are longtime race car friends, I can't do this. Eric and I can't just continue to keep doing this. And it's so much fun to be up late at night working on stuff. And then, race car friends share something or make a comment or something like that. So thank you all for being there, and thank you for being out in the community. We appreciate that. And thank you to our sponsors for making all of this possible. Have big news about one of those sponsors on that page here in just a moment. Summit Racing, obviously our title sponsor for the show and the news, and our Drag and Drive World Champion awards and all that kind of stuff. They are a big part of what we do over here. Driven Racing Oil, those guys, I love them. Bill and the team over there. Alex, awesome. Got to hang out with them at Six Summer. Molly Motorsports. Eric is a longtime drag and drive racer, stick shift Nova, 14 or 15 second C10 truck. I mean, that dude does it all. Car Chains 3D, Corey. If you're not following Corey Nicholson on Facebook or Car Chains 3D on Facebook, you're missing out. I'm telling you, this dude puts up a ton of content and does really cool stuff with 3D printing. WAF Racing. Chris Wozniak was on a couple weeks ago, and y'all, he makes these things for carburetors. I don't know anything about carburetors, but I keep buying these parts, man. It's really strange, but I don't have any carburetors to store them on. Anyways, Performer Built Transmission. Ryan got his first experience with Drag and Drive on Six Summer. That was awesome. We're going to have him on eventually to tell that story. Howard's Cams, Luke B, actually posted some stuff today talking about an up-and-coming drag and drive event that he's looking at. Sweet Patina. I don't have my TKO hand cleaning wipes in here. They were in the trunk of the car because I went to Heads Up Hustle. So, you got to take that stuff in case you're going to be working. And I had to use it because I had to put a belt on the Saturn somewhere around Rolla, Missouri. And then Racing Junk Classifieds, of course, that's where we find all of our best car deals, and PowerTube TV, exclusive content from us over there, plus a lot of other content creators, on there as well. Well, let's jump into this thing. The Summit Racing ad read, and then we're going to talk about a really cool On All Cylinders post that they made earlier. Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions. They feel your passion, they deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Wherever your favorite social media is, they're there, I promise. Also, you can tune into the On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions like this one, or some stuff that we're going to talk about here in just a second. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. Find everything, plus your drag, drive, repeat merch at summitracing.com. Okay, this is fun. I sent you guys a message talking about this thing right here, so I want to talk about it. 8 ways to prevent a classic vehicle from getting stolen. This is on the onallcylinders.com page. We talked about this probably a year ago. I know it's a sore subject with a lot of folks, but y'all, this is a big thing. We don't want to give out too many secrets, but what are some ways that you guys typically kind of keep your classic car safe? Fro and Redhat Scotty.
We haven't picked anything up yet. I've been looking at a few things, but it's something definitely that we need to look into. And I know there's a few things out there, at the air tags and stuff. The different companies doing different things. I would need to do something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Bro, you hit me with something earlier on a phone call. Lay out what you kind of got in mind, then we'll get into what I found.
I'm notorious as the guy who locks his doors entirely too much. Both of my co-hosts have made fun of me for this, but I was watching Junkyard Diggs, and just happened on this episode, and he was working with a company called Progression Ignition, and it was a wild system that I saw. He has a module that drops down into the distributor, and basically he can data log his ignition on his phone. He can make adjustments on his phone. But one of the coolest things that I saw on there was he can actually turn the ignition system off using his phone. So when he went into the hotel at the end of the night, he would just reach over and hit the on-off button on his phone, turn off the ignition. The next morning, he would get up, try to start his truck, and it wouldn't start. And then he would remember, oh, I turned it off using the app. So I thought it was a really cool thing.
And what was that called again?
Pretty cool.
Progression ignition. Now I don't know how that's gonna work for the race cars that listen to you guys, but it does seem like a pretty cool system.
Yep. One thing I like that, and then in this article they were talking, they said one of the easiest ways is to make sure your door locks work, and make sure that your key can't just be turned by a screwdriver. I thought that was, I mean, that's obviously stuff that we think about, but they also had some great ones. They said build some kind of like little small protective panel for, a lot of the easy to use keys that we have. You can slide in there, just pop the things off and start it like they do on all the movies, that could happen. Install a hidden kill switch, which obviously that's easy too. GPS tracker, like Scotty said, and then a hidden starter button, car alarm. I thought this was pretty wild. Quick disconnect steering wheels. Never even thought about that. I'm not that cool to have that. I think Scotty has that in the Rickety Rocket, right? And then steering wheel locks. I thought that was kind of interesting. But two pieces that I found, obviously on Summit Racing. The one is the Ron Francis wiring safe and sound battery disconnects, but it's key fob related. So you put it in between your starter solenoid. And so I think that would be a great way for someone that is trying to easily do this. They're not going to be able to find that quickly. That's right, the biggest thing. They may be able to figure out how to get your wires to touch, how to do all that stuff, but they're not going to be able to figure out how to get that thing started. And then one that I really like, and I'm probably going to do this on the old truck, is an electric emergency brake, because you could put the power for that anywhere. And even if they can get through the door being locked, it's hard to get the key switch started. Now they've got it started, they're trying to drive it off. Well, now they can't figure out how to release the electric emergency brake. So I thought that was pretty good. And for what, $750, something like that for those two. I mean, that's two pretty easy ways to get that. There are some less expensive ways, obviously, but I really liked the thought of an electric emergency brake, because then, I mean, dude, how are they going to get that gone if they don't? They're not climbing under that to cut that wire. So, anyways, just some stuff I thought about. One thing that Jason Hurley told us when we were talking about this the first time is don't give out all the secrets. Don't let all the stuff be known to everybody, because there are thieves that are watching these kind of things trying to get some ideas. But thought that was a pretty good one. All righty, let's run into the Driven Racing Oil event stuff, because this is where we're going to have some fun. This is where we're going to have our guests on and stuff like that. So why gamble with performance or protection when you get proven results from Driven Racing Oil? Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts around the world, Driven takes legendary base oils such as the ones from Bradford, Pennsylvania, which you guys will cut that down and know what we're talking about, which comprise their GP1 line. Then Driven boosts a superior base with state-of-the-art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti-wear protection, but can even shield cylinders. Dude, I don't know what's going on. This fan blowing in my mouth must have me all tongue tied up.
It's hot.
Shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by using methanol or nitro-based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following them on Instagram and Facebook at Driven Racing Oil, or shop now at drivenracingoil.com. Well, guys, the first event I want to talk about is the Circuit 2025. Do you notice something different about this logo than what we showed last week? Yes, the Summit Racing is on there, the Summit Racing logo. They are back to support us as our title sponsor for the Circuit for 2025. I'm so excited. Had a call with them on Monday. They're excited. We're excited, and there's going to be some really fun stuff that comes from this. So both of you guys were at the Circuit last year. Will you be back for 2025?
Oh, yeah, 100%. We'll be there.
Fro, are you going to race? Or are you going to co-pilot? Or are you going to what's your plan? You just cruising?
Right now, I don't think I have much of a plan. it's one of those things where if Bo wants a co-driver, I'll go co-drive. If John wants co-driver, I'll go co-drive. The photography gods were very much shining on me during your event, so it was one of those things where there were a lot of pictures of the car and some really great ones at that. Yep. So I kind of like the idea. I kind of like having pictures of my car to look back at. But no, I don't have a plan. We don't have a plan. We know that we're going. Like it's not one of those events that we're going to miss.
I like it. Well, I will tell you, if you do want to cruise, I am working through, and this is not news that I've made public at all. We are going to have a similar situation to like the road weaker or sick ward type scenario. And I'm working through who's going to manage that and how much fun we can have adding in, family and upfront parking and all the specialty stuff that whole group of people need to get. So we are working through all of that. Again, tracks are Tulsa to Mocan, back to Tulsa. Obviously, we're going to have some Route 66 stops. We're probably going to route, depending on the time frame, we're going to do some different route fun stuff. So maybe only one way this time will be Route 66. Dates are April 3rd through 6th with a pre-tech and dinner party on Thursday night of the 3rd. So plan on that, guys. Get your vacation time in, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to begin to see a lot of content come around the circuit as we land all of that kind of cool, fun stuff.
Now, I was told that next year you're going to be helping out with the Jungle Fro situation that we've got going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be some other backup girl. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be me and you out there backing race cars up and raising money. Everybody in the comments, give Fro a big round of applause because he raised like $1,000, dude. $1,000 in 2 hours with Jungle Fro at the circuit 2024. It was awesome. It was really awesome. And dude, I appreciate you doing that. It was really fun.
Imagine how that's going to be with two people standing up there, and one of them is you.
It's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. I'm telling you right now. It's going to be awesome.
The Mocan track officials, they were great about that, and God bless them.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, let's talk about Miles of Mayhem and event stuff here as we lead up. So Miles of Mayhem obviously just ended on Saturday. This is their 4th or 5th year to run this event. I think 4th year to run this event and have always done really well. I went through and picked out some records here. We're going to go over the class winners, and then also there's 2 new class records that were set this year. So want to give a big shout out to Norm Johnston with a new class record in the bracket class with a spread of 0.0465 across 4 days of racing. That's amazing. And it's his 3rd time to win that class in a row. Dude is an animal. Norm Johnston, way to go. I love the car, love the consistency. That's pretty awesome. To win it 3 times in a row, that's pretty impressive. And then, sorry, trying to juggle stuff here. Next up, Kyle Robb won the 750 index with a 0.0475. For that class, again, they're looking for 750 index. They added all of the times up there across the week and only separated by 0.0475. And that's just 0.0075 away from the class record set in 2021. Like that close, man. You almost wonder now that they know that, are they like, oh, I should have pushed a little far, should have pushed a little harder to do that. Next up is naturally aspirated, new class for 2024. This was won by Ron Thiessen with a 6.8795 average, which is huge. So congratulations to Ron on setting the standard. Like 6.8, I don't know what that math is. What's that, like a low 10-second quarter mile? Is that right?
You'd have to hit Redhat on that one. I do not know.
Got to be there somewhere.
I'm not super great at conversions.
Listen, we don't do public math around here. It means I don't do math in public. All right. I'll get the calculator out later. So my plan is to write an article about this later and congratulate these guys, obviously. Next class up is a long running class, modern muscle. Kelly Prosser won this with a 6.478, and that's within 29 thousandths of the record that was set 2023. So this is an interesting stat I thought here. So 2024 time 6.478, 2023 6.449, 2022 6.4501, and 2021 6.535. It doesn't, I mean, that's 4 years that this is within, I mean, less than a second or less than a tenth. Really almost less than half a tenth. I mean, that's intense. That's pretty intense to do that. Up next is Pro Street. Winner James Dick there with 5.925 average, within 0.035 of the record. 2024 5.925, 2023 5.89, 2022 5.928. Another class that is absolutely just 5.9s. That's what it is. 5.89, 5.928. I mean, it doesn't get much closer than that. Chris Hine won the man pedal class, which is obviously their stick shift, and reset the record by nearly a half second, or over a half second. The previous record was 6.0052, and his 544 just absolutely destroyed that. 56 hundredths of a second, just knocked that right out of the park. And then Chris Hine also, does anybody remember if he won stick shift at Rocky Mountain? He won stick shift at maybe Sick Week. I can't remember. He's had a great year. I'll put that in the article.
Yeah.
Small tire, Dennis Drummond, 5.399. That's quick. I want people to understand how fast that is. Small tire, 8th mile stuff. And then, of course, Outlaw 1 by Pat Miker, 4.918. Only car to finish in the fours and one of only two to run a 4-second 8th mile. His second class win in a row and second overall quickest car in a row. Absolutely crazy. And just 0.07 from his own class record that he set in 2023. So it's a quick year. That's a quick year of Miles of Mayhem. So I'll ask you guys, when are you going to Miles of Mayhem?
Red Hat, you're gonna have to jump in here.
Do it. That would be a blast to go up there to Canada and check out, that part of the world. But that is a long way. I don't know. It's on the list for sure. I think it would be a lot of fun to go do.
Yeah, I agree completely. And we're going to talk about how long it is for one of these guests later. Taylor and CJ drove from North Carolina to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, which was like 5,300 miles round trip or something crazy like that. Well, let's talk about events that are coming up, because this one is close to Redhat Scotty's heart here. King of the Open Road. You've done that several times. It is this coming weekend at August 2nd through 4th. Dude, how much fun did you have on this?
Well, I love the King of the Open Road. Those events that Jared puts on are so cool. The way that he sets them up and goes through the towns, gives a lot of history on the drives. And then we get to come back and race. I mean, if you guys get a chance to ever go do one of these, definitely go. It is well worth it.
Yeah, and this time they're going to Sapulpa, Oklahoma. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. It's awesome. It's like just this old school small town, and they're completely shutting down Route 66 or Main Street right down the middle of town for these 150, 200 cars that are going to be there. And then they're racing, or they're doing the Twisters movie at the Route 66 TP drive-in. So it's going to be like 100 cool cars in the drive-in, just like it would have been back in the day. I can't wait for the pictures of that to come out. I think it's going to be really, really cool. And then, of course, like Scotty said, they go back to Thunder Valley, Oklahoma City, and do some roll racing. I think it's the only drag and drive with roll racing, if I'm not mistaken. almost certain of that. And then, of course, drag racing and a huge car show, being part of the
Yeah, I believe
Cruising
it, right?
Oklahoma. Yeah, being part of the Cruising Oklahoma deal. It's huge car show, a lot of really neat stuff. And this is one of the only drag and drive events where you're going to see like Audis and Lambos and all that kind of stuff. They've really got a diverse group of people.
I like the fun side of it, though. I like the idea of throwing something fun in there. The
Yeah.
circuit, when the circuit did that was one of those things where it was nice for everybody to just relax for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm excited about this one, because they're going to have so many opportunities to do that. Like having an entire town shut down for 3 or 4 hours. I mean, that's awesome. And then going to the drive-in. I think the drive-in is going to take this event to the next level for the future. I'm excited for them about that as well. All right. Sad news in Drag and Drive world. The New York State Drag and Drive has been rescheduled because of rain to October 10th through 13th. So it's really sad when stuff has to move, but I will say it's probably a good thing, simply because it gives them another, 2.5 months, something like that, to promote and really build up another round of people coming in. And I don't think it coincides with another event. Let me look though real quick. I'm going to pop over here to dragdriverepeat.com/event list, where we have the full list of events laid out here. Yeah, looks like it will go at the same time of 666, but completely different parts of the country. You're talking about 666 starting in Springfield at Ozark Raceway Park, and then this is going to be up in New York State. So not even close to each other, but should make for a good time. And then Nostalgia Nights, August 15th through 17th. That's going to be in Wabash Valley, Dragway in Terre Haute, Indiana. Wabash. That's where our buddy Jesse Fox at 3G Video lives.
It's Wabash.
Wabish. Say that 3 times fast. So I'm excited about this one. 8th Mile. They race at night. That's my favorite format. I love the night racing just because it gives an opportunity for more people to come out. And like we were saying last week, nighttime racing, as you race, the weather gets better. DA comes down, it gets cooler, things go faster, all that kind of stuff. So that should be pretty fun for everybody that signed up for that one. And then Dragway Rush, the only drag and drive in Eastern Canada. This is going August 23rd through 24th. I hope that we see some of the New York State drag and drive racers kind of make their way across the border and do this Dragway Rush August 23rd and 24th. So there was a comment made by Dragway Rush on one of the posts from New York State Drag and Drive, and they were like, hey, we should just team up and do a cross-border event. And I like that. I think that's cool. I know we've, Sick the Magazine has talked about hosting a cross-border event next year called the Nor'easter. I see Raj in here saying that 666. Yep, the dates are going to overlap there for the New York State. But again, different parts of the country, and I hope that the momentum that Sick the Magazine has with 666 will make people want to do these other events. And that one being on the same weekend, you can kind of get some of that, I don't know, just get in there and get some of your own fun in the drag and drive community, please. So I'll ask you guys, what's your next event that you've got planned?
Next. Go ahead.
Rocky Mountain 2.0 is the next one for us.
That's awesome. Fro?
I believe the next event we have scheduled is 666. I know Doherty's going. Bo and I have talked about becoming groupies and becoming part of the Sick Ward and
nice
heading out, seeing the sights. I mean, it's straight down Route 66. How do you not go on that one?
It's going to be really cool. And, those guys came through. They drove that Nova they're giving away right now that used to belong to Jim Forbes. And so that's part, this whole giveaway right now leading up to Route 66. They drove that car on this. So they've seen some really cool stops. I can't wait till they kind of start laying out those routes and we can see where the route stops are going to be, because that's a big part of Route 66. And there's a lot of people that have never been on that road and that are going to experience it with 666. So bring it on, man. I'm ready.
I agree.
For me, I'd have to look at my schedule. I don't even know. I'm supposed to go to the fastest streetcar shootout for the Havlicks. Sadly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that one. I forgot that I had signed up for a concert with the family, and as much as I travel, I feel like I probably gotta do the concert thing maybe instead of going and watching cars for one weekend. But hey, I'm still working that angle, trying to see if I can sneak away.
I had every intention of going to that event, and I got hung out to dry. My wife is out of town for work, and it's looking like that's going to interfere with mine.
Yep. Dang it. Well, let's run through this real quick. Let's talk about the Molly Motorsports, and then we're going to bring on our first set of guests, Mr. Larry and Lee Brooks.
I'm going to drop out. I'm going to go backstage and maintain. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Good night. I will see you next time.
Thanks, dude. You're awesome. You're awesome. All righty. So Molly Motorsports. Attention high performance enthusiasts and racers, meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for power packed performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improved temperature stability, or 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevrolet to Volkswagen and Audi, Molly has you covered. What sets Molly apart? Forged pistons, Grafal coating, and phosphate treatment for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsport, where performance meets precision. MollyMotorsports.com for any and all details. And for the podcast listeners, Molly is spelled Mahle. So if you would like to tell your own co-pilot story, which is what we're going to talk about here in just a minute with our guests, I'm going to drop the co-pilot spotlight link in the chat there on the side, or you can go to dragdriverpete.com/co-pilot spotlight. So our two guests tonight, father and son duo that just finished Heads Up Hustle, that had a blast. I enjoyed hanging out with them. It was going to be, it was awesome. I love this story. I love the truck, but enough of my rambling. Let's bring on Larry and Lee Brooks, who are in the garage in front of the truck that they drove on Heads Up Hustle. So gentlemen, how are you? And tell us, how long have you guys been car guys?
How you doing? Car guys. I mean, I have pictures of me as a little kid in his Camaro that he had, with me just my hands on the steering wheel being in the way. So it's pretty much been a lifelong thing for me.
That's awesome. What about you, Larry?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 60 years old, and I grew up with my dad in the garage, cars. The neighborhood I grew up in, we had a guy running a wingless sprint car. The other neighbor had a 67 Camaro drag car. Another guy ran oval modified, and so I was always in somebody's garage under their feet, or going to the track with them. So I just grew up with it.
You were there all the time. Well, the truck behind you is what you guys drove, and again, I tell Lee every time I see him, but I love the story on this truck. I love the paint. I love all the stuff. So give us a quick recap of the truck and where it came from and the setup it has now.
So the truck was my grandpa's truck, my dad's. So Dad just found a picture before he came over of a picture of the truck when he drove it. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, how cool!
That's what it looked like back whenever Grandpa drove it, and it says
cool.
It says 1989 on the back of the picture. So the truck's been in the family since pre-1989. So I remember riding in that truck as a little kid whenever he used to use this to flat tow with a tow bar the 54 Chevy that he had to the drag strip.
Wow.
At all of 55 miles an hour with the 3 on the tree and the inline 6. So the truck's been in the family for a long time, and there's a lot of sentimental value to it.
How cool.
So
That is
it's
cool.
had a couple of power plants. Before Grandpa got sick, and passed away from cancer. The original inline six gave up. So my first car was a 69 Plymouth Satellite. Well, the original 318 and 904 went in this truck, and he got to drive it a couple of times before he got sick. So it's got a Mopar Performance sticker in the back window because he put that sticker in it after he put a 318 Mopar in this Ford pickup truck.
Right.
But here, probably 2015 or 16, I had bought the truck back, and we got it running enough for me to drive it in my wedding. We came across this crazy thing called Hot Rod Drag Week, and we decided we were going to take Grandpa's truck drag racing, and it's now a twin turbo 5.3 LS with a 4L80 Dominator ECU, and it has it's been a lot more money than we thought it was going to be, but it's been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, but I thought LS swaps were cheap.
Oh,
Sure.
No. Well, this is the third LS. I don't know if you realize this, but you can eat the thrust bearing out of an LS really fast with the Turbo 400.
Yeah, that happens all the time. So tell us, what has it ran with that combo in it right now?
So it ran its personal best at Milan at the Heads Up Hustle. Off the trailer, we went out. We left the same tune in it from when we went testing up at Martin, Michigan. Off the trailer, it went 991 at 137 mile an hour, which is the fastest the truck has ever been.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Wow.
Weighs
Yeah,
almost,
and then
almost 3,900 pounds.
street truck, man, street truck.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Ford trucks of that age don't typically sit that low. So, what's the suspension setup in it? I mean, this thing just sits amazingly well. Look how low that is.
So from the Firewall Ford, we cut the frame rails off, and it is, 69 to 72 Nova or Camaro front clip. So we did the old hot rod thing, cut the frame rails off, and put a Nova front subframe under it. And then in the back, we did some minor C notches and flipped the diff to the top of the springs. But other than that, it's got still the factory 1964 Ford F100 leaf springs under it with some cow tracks and some double adjustable Viking shocks all the way around.
I was going to ask how you keep it planted, moving the axle up like that. So yeah, the cow tracks, I mean, obviously doing a ton of work there. We have Todd Kleeman saying, Larry and Lee, best guys ever. You can tell Narcs how you saved our bacon in 2017. What's that story?
So we were up at Martin at 131 for drag week, and we were on our way home. And of course, the route went right past where both of us lived at. So we're driving along, and we see Todd pulled over of course, he never met Todd at that point, in a Malibu. So we pull in, hey, we live down the road. Can we get help with tools or parts or anything we can help with? Well, his car ended up being a little further broke than what we could do along the side of the road. I think he lost a timing chain or the
Seared the bolts off the end of the timing gear.
Yeah, the bolts came out of the timing gear. So we ended up storing that thing at my house. Went and got our trailer, took it to my house, unloaded it, and stored it until he was able to get back and get his truck and trailer and come back and pick it up.
That's a good one. That's a good talk about saving the day.
Well, I'm thinking now you guys are good friends because of that.
Yeah. What was it? A couple years later, we were able to try to run drag weekend. Which one?
The first one?
Was it? Yeah, I think it was the first year. So we took my my Plymouth Satellite that I have and tried to run drag week in 2017, and we got to see Todd then, and he was driving an S10, I think, that year. But yeah, it's weird whenever the friends you make at drag and drive events, you just kind of hang on to each other and keep talking.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, you were telling the story. We were having some parking lot beers. You were telling some stories in the hotel there, and it was about your grandmother taking a ride after you got the truck put together. Why don't you tell everybody else that story?
So when we first decided to do this drag week thing with it, when we first put the roll cage in it, she saw it and was not happy about it. She cried, what did you do, kind of a thing. And then after we got it painted and got it all done, before we went to drag week in 22, the truck had literally like 5 miles on it. She came over and I got to take her for a ride in it, and she cried then too, but it was happy tears. And then she gave me a hard time that I didn't take her fast enough down a county road. I kind of thought a little over 70 was fast enough, but that's all right. We can do it again.
Hey, get in here, Grandma. Let's
Right.
go, let's go lay some big black marks.
Right. Well, the hard part is getting her in and out of it with the cage and all that kind of stuff. So,
Well, before we dive into some heads up hustle stuff, what other events have you guys done?
so we did drag week in 17 in the Plymouth. We did drag week again. We tried, was it 20 or 19?
19.
I think it was 19. We got to Virginia Motorsports Park and we still had braking oil in it. So we go to change the oil and we found a whole bunch of sparkly things in the oil that we were like, well, we're done. So we had to take that 12-hour drive back home with a
Oh,
broken truck.
ouch.
And then, yeah, we did. So I rode Chris Lewis that you rode with at the Heads Up Hustle. I was his co-pilot in 21, and then we got the truck out in 22, and we're scheduled. Lewis and Dad and I are scheduled to run in 24 here. So
That's awesome. Well, Redhat Scotty also is a father-son combo duo there. Him and the dude run a bunch of events. So I know you guys will cross paths at some point. Father and son teams are really pretty fun because I think it's really weird. Like my dad and I growing up we weren't friends. He was my dad, right? But like once you kind of get in like, your mid-20s, you kind of become friends, and that's really a lot of fun to be able to spend that much time and in that same truck over 1,000 miles. That's a lot of closeness, man.
oh yeah, well it's amazing how smart Dad becomes after you realize what life is and when you have to have a real job and pay bills and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives a whole new aspect, and the cool thing about being able to run around with that is like you're out, and now you're seeing your dad as somebody different than just some old dude that doesn't know what he's talking about, but really, he does because like he's lived that, he's been there.
Right.
So that's pretty fun. Well, let's jump into some heads up hustle stuff. Tell us what class you raced. You talked about the personal best, but how did that affect your class?
So we ran the full size truck class, and that's kind of what drew us to the Heads Up Hustle. We have, of course, we run drag week, and with drag week, we've run the ultimate iron class, and we've run the small block power adder class, which this truck will not run 850s with what we have in it right now.
Yeah.
We weigh way too much and don't have near enough motor to run 850s.
Not with that attitude.
Do what?
I said, not with that attitude.
Well, I don't want to run over the crankshaft yet. The other motor's sitting over there hiding behind a car I bought.
That's exactly right. So you guys really put on a show. It was really fun to watch that truck go down. For everybody that's watching, Heads Up Hustle is set up in the way that you run your 2 days at the different tracks. So Milan and Mid Michigan for 2024. You run those 2 days to set an average, and that's what sets your ladder standings, right? So
Right.
you guys were limited to 10-0 based on your NHRA cert or the cage of the truck. I can't remember.
I just haven't had a chance to get a license yet.
Gotcha.
I have 2 little boys that take precedence over drag racing at this point.
Yeah.
So having time to go make license passes and do all that kind of stuff has kind of fallen to the wayside. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we were limited to 10-0. So the first day we went a 991, pulled 2 pounds of boost, went 992. I'm like, okay. So I pulled 3 more, lifted at the 1,000 foot and went 1008.
4, 1008,
Yeah,
something like that.
1008.
Yeah. That's
And-
pretty impressive, dude.
I'm like, what am I going to do? Or what's it going to take to slow this stupid thing back down?
Yeah. NA, just remove the intake charge and you're set. And then you drive to Mid Michigan, and you guys put up another 10-0 there, right? 10-0.
Yeah,
4,
1008.
something like that?
Yeah. So I had an older tune that I think had gone like 1020 back at Martin a couple of weeks before in the heat. I stuck that in it hoping because it didn't have as much power down low that it would kill some power, and it ran right through, and when a 10:08, I'm like, okay, we're good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, seeing the 10-0s all week, it almost made me wonder if you should have entered the 10-0 class, but Josh Bird had that thing on lock, dude. It was he had it. It was impressive to watch him do that. Well, had you been to those tracks before?
So we did it was called the Mid-Michigan Drag and Drive Weekend or something like that way back. When was that? 15 or 16? So we were at Mid-Michigan for that. But that was a whole different, that was the first engine. That was a different computer system. There's been a lot of changes since then. So we did that, and the computer got fried in that race. So
we won't mention the brand on that, but we don't have that ECU anymore.
Right. But so we did. So we've been to Mid-Michigan before, but that was our first time at Milan, and I was pretty impressed with Milan. That was a nice facility for, what looks like a hometown track. It was a pretty nice place.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed that. Like, there were 5 sets of grandstands. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of room there for racers, but the scenery there, I can't wait to see the photos that Jesse Fox drops from there. The grass, the whole pit area was amazing. It had a huge part of or asphalt, but then the backside of the pits, man, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was nice. Like I say, it reminded me of the track that we raced at. We lived in Texas at Hallsville Dragway. It's no longer there, but a lot of shade in the pits and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely need more shade in the pits.
Yeah, for sure. So how'd that shootout go?
So there was only 4 full-size trucks in the class. The first eliminations, the gentleman it was a Dodge pickup truck, and he was running mid-12s, I think, in that, or just into the 12s. And I knew I had him kind of covered, so I only stayed in it until the 1-2 shift, and then I just kind of coasted to the end. So that one wasn't too bad. The finals, I put the hot tune back in it because I was going to try to run back down into the 980 or try to run a 980 with it, and we picked something up in the right rear slick between where we were pitted and the staging lanes, and ended up having a right rear tire going almost flat. Like I've seen some videos on Instagram, and when the thing launched, it looks like the wheel was pushing the tire completely flat into the surface.
Oh man.
So it's I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty lucky that I was able to get that thing down. I still drove it down the track, and it was all over the place, as Mike will tell you. But
listen, it was impressive to watch it, dude. It looked like one of those no prep racers just trying to get down all over the place. I think you used about 80% of your lane there, maybe 90.
Yeah, I think I did, but well, Dad was on the driver's side, and he said it was about past the 330. Of course, all the powers rolled in it at that point, so we're talking 24 pounds of boost. And I rolled back into it, and he said it pulled the front left tire back up off the ground about 4 or 5 inches. So
yes,
yeah, it still went at 11,
impressive.
Low 11 or 11.0, and with a flat right rear tire. I got beat because he went at 10.4, but that all-wheel drive F-150 was no joke.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I wish that your tire had not had that flat, because dude, you were on a rip. You could tell that truck had all the power pull in it, because one thing that that John Paul does is that you get one warning. So like if you go maybe too fast, or you go faster than what you're supposed to, you get a warning, or you break out, like in the index stuff, you break out. Hey, and I think that time, being your, what was going to be your last pass, I think you had it turned up looking for a new PB, and it would have been awesome to run it against Shane Maley. Who ended up winning the class. But dude, he did well too. 10.4s all weekend. It was awesome. He made a bunch of passes. But yeah, Whipple all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Coyote truck. You had your hands full for sure.
Oh yeah, I knew I was going to have to put all of it in it, because I was going to have to run him down, because I can't leave as fast as that all-wheel drive truck did, especially with the 9-inch that's in it right now, because it's still got the original 9-inch housing and only 31 spline axles. So we need to do some upgrading this winter.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Well,
What
let's
kind of
talk.
60 foots does that do?
Sorry, you'll have to ask that again. I didn't hear it.
I don't know. What kind of 60 foots does that thing usually do when it doesn't have a flat tire?
So with the flat, it went 1.7. Without a flat, it went the fastest it's gone 60 foot's a 148.
That's pretty quick.
For 3,867 pounds. Yeah, it takes a little bit to get the big old girl rolling.
Yeah,
Like
that's
we're-
for sure. Well,
I think we're
let's
only
talk
leading
about.
on like 10 pounds of boost.
Yeah.
Right now. So
Oh man, yeah, turn that up. Well, I mean, you're at your limit right now. Until you get your license, yeah, you have to. I mean, you're all over your number right now. So,
Right.
well, let's talk about your favorite track. We got about 10 more minutes here. Favorite track of the weekend?
Definitely Milan. Yeah, I really liked Milan.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorites. I think of those two, Michigan
What
may
was
have
like your favorite route stop?
Favorite route stop? Oh, the
Johnson Supply.
yeah, Johnson Supply. That place was
Dude.
awesome.
Oh, I wish I had pictures in here. That place was like you can't even imagine. For the folks that are watching, find Johnson Speed Warehouse anytime you're in. Is it in Lansing, Michigan?
Yeah.
I think it's Lansing. I don't even know where we were then, but it was awesome. Like floor to ceiling, packed with stuff from. I mean, he started that in 1959, and I'm telling you, there's still parts in there that he bought back in 1959. There's got to be. I just don't know where you'd find them.
Yeah,
Well, I picked up that carburetor for that 64 300 Buick.
Yeah,
That's
please tell
OEM
please tell that
carburetor.
story. Please tell that story. That was so crazy.
Well, I have a 64 300 Buick engine that I'm going to put in a little Model A Ford pickup. I've got the factory aluminum 4-barrel, and I believe they call it a little 4CG or GC, little 4-barrel, little like it's a 450 CFM. And so I was looking for the carburetor, and sure enough, he had multiple of that same carburetor on the shelf, and it's a GM rebuild. I mean, the thing looks brand new. So, like I say, and it was $250. I think I stole it actually.
Yeah, that was the cool story because like you're out in the parking lot and we're like, what is that? And you're like, oh man, some carburetor I've been looking for forever. Yeah, that was a really cool place.
Yeah. He didn't. Yeah. I could have spent all day in there.
Yeah.
So with you guys getting ready to do drag week, coming up, do you think you're going to try to run the 10-0 class, or are you going to where do you think you're going to fall for drag week?
Well, I'm hoping that we're doing some maintenance and stuff on the truck, and I had to throw a new set of slicks after the heads up hustle on it. So I'm hoping we'll be able to sneak over to Milan on a Wednesday for a test and tune and try to at least get my license started. So because I would really like to do a drag week and average 9s. To have this big girl running 9s and average that for 5 days. Like, that's kind of a goal. So I'm kind of tossed up whether we run like the Ultimate Iron class again or try to. I mean, I know we're not going to win the small block power outer class, but just we're still kind of trying to figure that out. But I'd really like to just have a 9-second average for the week.
Man, that's a
that would be super cool.
Yeah, and then at the same time, that truck probably ran 19 second quarter miles if it was lucky.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, it topped out at 55 miles an hour downhill with a tailwind. So,
right. Well, as we kind of wind down here, guys, what's an interesting roadside repair, or did you help any other racers, anything like that on Heads Up Hustle?
The only thing, like, we had one guy come to us for a 1-inch hose clamp, which we had, and then other than that, the only thing we really struggled with was trying to keep that 4L80 cool pulling this drag week trailer. We need to upgrade our trans cooler. That's one of the upgrades we have to make before drag week, and upgrade that. But other than that, besides getting caught behind a 30 tractor antique parade that we found, Other than that, we had a pretty uneventful situation. Oh, and the flat back tire.
Yeah, this right here was pretty crazy, and the way you were saying was like they were spaced just right to where you weren't going to pass them. So how long did you guys have to follow these folks?
Well, but to the next country mile, and then we found a left and brought the long way in. But the long way was faster than following them all the way into town.
Yeah, we were probably behind them a good 5-10 minutes before we found a road. It wasn't a gravel road to turn on.
Yeah. Well, the last question I have is, will the satellite have side pipes?
Oh no, it will not have side pipes. I can promise you that. Oh,
Maybe.
That's funny. So tell the backstory about the side pipe joke.
okay. So originally, because the turbos are mounted up front, the exhaust exited right behind the front tire. Well, we were trying to figure out, okay, we got to do something to get the exhaust to exit behind. Well, next thing I know, he's showing up to the house with polished stainless pipe that he had left over, or that he had bought for his 54 Chevy that he has. And he goes, here, we could put these on. And next thing I know, that we're building polished stainless side pipes for this stupid truck. I mean, they've grown on me. It does look pretty good now. But when I first looked at it, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This thing's got side pipes on it.
That dude. And hey, listen, I told you, I love it. I think they look great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a hard
does.
time with it for a little while, but yeah, once a lot of compliments about the whole truck and the side pipes, and he was cool with it. So
The entire time I'm TIG welding the V bands on these things, I'm going, what am I doing right now?
What is wrong with my life? That's
Right.
funny.
Where did I mess up?
Yeah, for sure. Well, y'all, I want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. I know this was a little quicker than what we have the stories for, but I promise you, we're going to have you back on. I want to dive deep. I want to talk about some of your other project cars and all that kind of stuff. You guys are a great example of what co-pilot and pilot are for the drag and drive community, and that worked in perfect to the Molly Motorsports co-pilot spotlight tonight. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was
Yep.
a good time, and look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll see you at Drag Week, guys. Thank you very
Hope
much.
to run into you guys soon.
Yeah, they're going to
Well,
need to do a Rocky Mountain. That's one of the next events they got to get on.
Well, our next one that we're looking
Yeah.
at next year is the Sick Week. We want to do Sick
Oh,
Week
yeah.
in Florida.
There you go. Yeah, because you guys are in Ohio, Indiana.
Indiana.
Maybe
Indiana.
we're-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
northern
So
Indiana.
February in Indiana, you want to get out of there, get to some warm weather.
Yes.
You bet.
Yeah. So back when I graduated high school, we would go every spring down to Florida and race or get ready for the motocross season, racing dirt bikes. So Florida is
Nice.
where we like to be in the spring.
Yeah. I can't say I blame you there for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much again. We appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Larry,
Have a good
Brooke,
one.
give him a round of applause in the chat over there. Thanks, guys. See y'all.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Dude, how much fun is that? How much fun is that? I love
That's fun.
love father
That's
son
just
teams.
so cool.
Yeah, 10-second trucks. You would have had a lot of fun with them. They are a great time to hang out with.
Yeah, for sure. I want to catch up with those guys. It'd be fun. Get me and the dude, and then get the Brooks together. That'd be good.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to do that. We got to get you guys back to a drag week eventually. But with as much fun as you have on Rocky Mountain events, it's tough to do that.
Yeah, and it's tough to get away to all these events. So eventually, we'll make our way back to Drag Week.
Yep, that's for sure. Well, let's get on here. We'll run through some more stuff here. Again, want to give a big shout out to Molly. Say thank you to them for being such a big part of the brand here at Drag Drive Repeat. Love those guys. And you can see here in the picture, they're not just sponsors. They are also Drag and Drive racers. George running his Duster on Drag Week last year. And Eric has been a pivotal part in Rocky Mountain history with that Nova. I mean, stick shift, 10-second car. I mean, it's awesome. Small block, NA.
Yeah,
I mean, that's right up everybody's alley.
Yeah, Eric's car is super cool. I love when he comes out and rows through the gears with it with us.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for being our race car friends. I really can't do that. I want to say thanks to Redhat Scotty and Fro for being race car friends enough to be on here tonight and help me run this episode, and I appreciate them for that, and appreciate everybody making comments, doing shares. We're having huge numbers tonight on the view count, which is awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody for what they've done. So do me a favor, hit the share button one more time. Thank you to our sponsors. Summit Racing, obviously a big part, has signed back on for the 2025 circuit. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to help us provide an even cooler experience for all of our racers there. And of course, all of our stuff here, they sponsor so much that we do here. Driven Racing Oil, Molly Motorsports, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk Classifieds, and Power Tube TV. We couldn't do all of what we do without all of those sponsors. So I ask you, if you are spending money, please try and spend it with them first. And one other thing that's a big benefit to having Summit as our title sponsor is that most of those products are available at Summit Racing. So that's always a plus for you as well. And then the gentleman's agreement, Redhat Scotty knows what this means. Listen, I love doing this, but it takes a ton of time and a ton of effort and lots of money to make that travel. So gentleman's agreement is I will keep doing this. Eric will keep doing this. If you just do one thing for us, and that's hit that follow and subscribe button. Wherever you're watching this, hit that. Make sure you're caught up on all of the news and entertainment from the Drag and Drive community. One of our sponsors we talked about, PowerTube TV. Rev up your engines with PowerTube TV, the ultimate destination for automotive entertainment. Stream for free on the web, Roku, mobile apps, and more. Catch replays of our shows and exclusive content from us, but from other top creators as well. And they have shows like Pink's and Pastime and Pink's All Out. You guys will remember that. Plus, they're developing a ton of new shows. PowerTube TV isn't just a platform, it's a community. Join the content creator program if you're a content creator and be part of something special. Find more at watchpttv.com. All righty, let's do Howard's Cams. This is one of my favorite segments of the entire episode here. So I'm going to hit the intro, and then we're going to talk about some fun stuff.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
I want to say thanks to Harris at the Monoxide Podcast for doing that ad read for us. We appreciate that a whole lot. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Mr. Tom Bagley. Oh, no. You can't see that yet. So I forgot to put his photo in here. Yeah. Oops. That's what happens. Tom Bagley sent me his part 2 of the Rocky Mountain Race Week trip. If you missed part 1, it debuted last week. And tonight it's dropped probably just a few minutes ago, actually, on the website and Facebook. This is day 1, his story of the piston swap at Tulsa, which Redhat Scotty knows a lot about, the Tulsa pits and engine swaps.
Yeah, no, I did do that one time. Race Week 2.0 2020. Actually, pretty close to where Tom did his.
Yeah, it's a great track. If you break down, we don't want anybody to do that, but if that happens, that's the way it goes sometimes. So I want to say thanks to Tom for doing this. This is something that I asked of him. I asked him to, give me something that would help document his story, right? Because that's one of the biggest things we love to do at Drag Drive Repeat, and I love to do, is to help people tell that story. And he's written 2 great articles about, one, his trip from the UK, like doing street weekend over there, UK street weekend, drag and drive, to then jumping on an airplane, flying to LA, spending 3 days working on his car, and then driving 1,700 miles just to get to Tulsa. And then this article that's dropping now is his story of day 1, what happened, why it broke, what he thinks happened, what he did to fix it, and all that kind of stuff, and how he fixed it with like a simple all he had was a Harbor Freight toolkit, dude.
Yeah, it was the very basic Harbor Freight toolkit. That's impressive what he did with that small toolkit.
Yep, and a big shout out to the Wilson family. I can't remember if it was Eric or Trevor that had an additional rod and piston that he just took the old one out, put the new one in. Only had to lift the engine a few inches. It's all in the story that he tells tonight. He's got some great photos that he provided for me too. So again, thank you so much to Tom for doing that. I really appreciate it. I can't wait for part 3. But he even says in his email to me, he said, "Man, after this, it was pretty smooth sailing, a regular drag and drive. I got some sleep. I made all the drives. I made passes each day. He's like, it was pretty normal." So you had a good time with him. You got to visit with him, I'm sure, while we were all on that as well, right?
Yeah, I hung out with Tom quite a bit throughout the week, since we went out with my car, and it was great catching up with Tom and checking out his car and just chit-chatting. Actually, I might, hopefully, it's in the works. I need to get with Chad Reynolds when Chad gets Tom's car in Texas. I might be flying down there and helping Chad, kind of wrench on it. So when Tom does come back, all he's got to do is get in it and hit the loud pedal, and he'll be good.
That's awesome, man. And that's what race car friends are about, dude. That is so cool. That is so cool for you guys to do that. And Alex Brody and Danny Groups did that for him in California. They actually took care of the car, got the gear swap changed or the gears swapped to a better gear. So he didn't have to worry with that on his, just 3 days that he was going to have there. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So,
All right.
I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I'm working really hard to make that work.
Yeah, if I'm off, if I'm available, I would love to make that trip with you guys too. I think that would be a lot of fun. Well, in other news, let's talk
For
about
sure.
one of my favorite cars that's going to be coming up this year is Cal Hayward's Pinky Drag Week car. If you guys will remember, this car was painted pink. That's how it got its name. This is an exclusive photo here. You guys are some of the first to see this in the new paint. So I asked, he said I could post this. So I'm really excited about this. This is not the typical black and white photo that he shares with us. Guys, I love the homage back to the Pinky Drag Week with the pink radiator shroud, the pink fuel lines, all that kind of stuff. And then this, of course, moving from a small block Ford to a big block Ford. He held the Super Street small block power adder record at Drag Week for like 11 years or something like that till Ryan Hargett came in and knocked it off this last year for 2023. But he's coming for an overall here. He said this car is going to be 6-second capable.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
35.
crazy that he held that record for that long too.
Well, Super Street stuff, like for a long time, that was kind of like that 750 class almost. That was kind of where the numbers got, because anytime you went faster than that, you had to have such a cage that a lot of times they just went right into unlimited for pro mod stuff, But yeah, Super Street, this is going to be right here, right up their alley. Super Street big block power adder will be what he runs in this car here. And again, I mean, there's a lot of cars that are being built for drag and drive right now, 6-second or faster capable. We've heard of several 5-second cars that are being built too. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. We'll be ready for CJ and Taylor here in just a second, but I want to talk about their story right after I say thanks to John Paul Franks. I want to give him says thanks, dude. I appreciate you allowing me to come up and announce. That was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, to be able to be up in the tower 3 or 4 hours each day. And it just gives an all new perspective on how well guys like Adam Dory and Chad Reynolds and Derek Putnam and Brian Loans and Freiberger do at these drag and drive events, because I'm telling you, my throat was done at the end of day one. And so I had to kind of scramble, and, I had some Lifesaver candies and Jolly Ranchers and more water and more Gatorade as we went on through the weekend. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was awesome that you got to do that. I can't imagine the way your throat and voice and everything felt by the end of that, but that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I really do appreciate him and all the folks that were they were nice to me about it. You know, I'm sure I screwed up a few names. I called Shane Maley. Called him Shane Malley most of the weekend. So I'm sure at some point he was like, "This dude," but I fixed it by the end of the event, and we got all that done. So it was pretty fun to go around and talk to everybody in the pits and get those stories, and then be able to relay those stories up there. All right, well, let's bring on the guest. Now, these guys are going to be on because this is a huge story. Okay, they drove Taylor's car. We're going to talk about horsepower and all that kind of stuff that it is from North Carolina all the way to Saskatchewan, Canada, and back. So let's hear this story. I'm going to bring you guys on now. I'm going to bring CJ on now and Taylor on as well. Perfect. Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Good. Hope you are.
Oh man, I'm awesome. It's gonna be I'm gonna love this story. So real quick, give us some background. Tell us who you are and the cars you drive, because CJ, people will know you from your car as well. So we want to hear what those cars are.
All right. Hey, just want to make sure my microphone and everything's working well on here.
Yep, we can hear you and see you great.
Good deal. Yeah, my name is Taylor Hedrivk. I drive a 2002 Mustang GT turbo car, 4.6 2-valve stick shift deal. And it's pretty basic setup.
Oh, basic. What's that thing make?
It's made 1148 on the dyno, but we've turned it up probably, I don't know, a good 5 pounds since then. So I'm going to guess 13, 14 maybe. I don't know.
Jeez, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Mr. CJ Roberts, dude, tell us who you are and what you normally drive. I don't think I have a picture of it though.
CJ Roberts. I got a '83 Mustang, as Taylor calls it, the Orange Fender Fox. Just a rod piston 6-liter Tick T56 ultimate drag deal. It's a pretty simple combo. Got a Black Magic adjustable clutch. It's been well in the 8s for me, and then a 540 8th mile, so it does all right.
That's awesome, and shoots gigantic fireballs, dude. It's one of the most fun cars to watch that's out there. Well, let's talk about this trip because you guys drove. I want to know how many miles total, and then how the heck this conversation even comes up.
Yes, we drove 5,800 miles total, give or take. We don't have an odometer in the car. We don't have a gas gauge in the car. We just kind of went till the fuel pumps got loud and then pulled over or ran out, either way. But 5,800-ish total miles, and it was a blast, man. I knew CJ was going to do Midwest drags, and I wanted to do 66, and I wanted to do that or the Canada one. Something with Rich Guido. Just wanted to do something with him because he's a really good buddy of ours. And it kind of just, I made a phone call and I was like, hey, man, what do you think about, driving this old pile of bolts to Canada? And there was no talking him into it. There was nothing. It was just, yes, sir, I'm in. So that's how it happened.
That's awesome. Well, CJ, let's talk about that conversation with you. Like, what goes into, you've been a pilot a bunch in this. You've raced the car and stuff. Was this your first time to co-pilot?
No, it was my third time. So I co-piloted with Anthony Harville on a Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0 a few years back, and then this past drag week I was a co-pilot for Steve Winningham in his Fox body stick shift deal. So this will be my third time, but by far the furthest and by far the longest in a Kirky.
I can't even imagine the distance there. That 5,800 miles is a bunch. So walk us through getting there. Like how many miles was it there? And then we're going to talk about the whole story here in a second.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool the way we did it. So he lives in Kentucky, of course, and I live in central North Carolina. And I just jumped in an airplane and flew and picked him up, brought him back home to North Carolina. And then I don't think he was ready for the amount of work we still had to do on my car. Let me back up. It was 3 weeks before that, he actually drove to my house and we put the motor together on my dinner table pretty much. And then the next morning we spent all day putting it together. All right. And then my responsibility was get it finished and he show up and we hit the road. Well, that didn't work out at all. So we spent, I don't know, was it 3 days, CJ, probably working on the car before we even left. We left a day late. And we finally left at around 5:30 or so in the morning. And it took 3 full days to get there and 3 10-hour, days. And then we could have spent the last night. We didn't have to, but we spent the night like 2 hours away from the track just to make it easier on us. And we couldn't find a hotel anyway. But
wow.
Yeah, the trip there was I don't know. They were all rough. Every bit of it was rough.
Dude, sorry. The route, you guys, how did that run you across the country, I guess? Because I want folks to understand, you're on the east coast of this, but Saskatchewan is next to British Columbia, which is it's mountain time. So it's north of Denver, right?
Yep. So it's pretty much the North Dakota, Montana line. You barely in Montana for 30 minutes and you're straight north is Saskatoon.
Jeez, man, that's a long way. So yeah, how did that route? What kind of stuff did you guys see along the way?
Honestly, the whole trip we didn't get to see a whole lot. We saw a bunch of big old buffaloes. Just, I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot to see really.
Flat land mostly.
Yeah, a bunch of flat land, and it was 50 miles between any civilization. But we went all the way through Wisconsin and North Dakota. Go ahead.
Did you guys switch off driving, or did you drive the entire time?
Oh, Lord, no. I couldn't drive the whole time. If it wasn't for him, there was no way we'd do it. I'd say probably a 50-50 or a 60-40 split, something like that.
Wow. That's pretty cool. A lot of times it's tough because there's really, a lot of times your seat, especially in a car that fast, is set to you. So are y'all close to the same height, same leg length? I mean, how does that work? Did you have to move the seat around?
I had to use a moving blanket to pick me up and scoot me forward because Taylor, you're
I'm 6'4",
7 inches taller than me. Yeah.
That's
so Mike,
awesome.
if you look at those pictures I sent you, Mike, you'll see he called it the Kentucky pour-in version of a Kirky pour-in, but it's a blue moving blanket he put in there to lift them up and push them forward a little bit because of course the seats don't move. They're all bolted down, and that was his option to get forward and up towards the steering wheel. I'm sure it still wasn't great for him.
Right. Let me get those pulled up. I have some others. I don't think I grabbed that one. Sorry. Yeah, we can talk about others. I can't believe. So you flew in, you get the car ready. I don't see the seat picture. Maybe
I didn't do it.
Yeah,
thought I did.
That's a good story though. To have to do that, because
Right.
I would think that would even make it harder, because now you're up and there's not a regular backrest and you're not trying to do all that stuff. So what's so we know it's a 2-valve in the car, or was in the car. What was the setup there? And I just got to ask, because you stick shift guys are crazy to me. Why stay stick shift? Is it just you like the abuse?
For me, I really don't know why originally. I would say maybe because the car came like that. The car came a 4.6 2-valve, and I just wanted to see how far I could push both things. And I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I feel like I was, going decently fast, and now these guys are going, 6s in the quarter and whatnot. So it's a different world. But I feel like I was just trying to push the 4.6 2-valve as far as I could. because obviously I didn't give a crap about my wallet this entire time doing this. But just this, every time you go to a race, or for me at least, I go to a race and, I'll watch the, 420, 430 cars go by. And then as soon as I hear a two-step, I'm watching those races, those are the more exciting ones, because not always is the fastest guy going to win. And a lot of times we've won stuff on paper we shouldn't even been in the conversation. It's just a lot of fun to me. I mean, just like you said, listen to CJ's two-step and watching fireballs, that's cool as crap.
Agreed. And Alpha Plumbing says because it keeps the skill in being a driver. That's certainly true. That's certainly true. Having to row gears, I think that's pretty awesome. And then Bob Guido says, didn't think there was anything else but stick shift.
Yeah, he got to ride in my car for a good little while. That's the first time I'd ever met him. He's a really good guy as well. It's Rich's brother.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. And then Ed Holmberg says, I'd rather have fun than go a tenth or two quicker. I mean, I kind of agree with that a little bit. I'm usually an automatic guy just because it's easy for burnouts and ice cream and all that. Anybody can drive it, But the stick shift stuff is way more fun to drive if you're asking any hot rodder.
That's right.
So let's talk about events.
How fast has that car been?
Oh, there you go. Sorry. Scotty asked how fast that car's been.
It's been in the 8th, 524 at 144, and then quarter at Midwest Drags, it went 802 at 177.
Dude, in full drag and drive trim.
Yeah, it's never been any. I mean, we've lifted ahead years ago and drained the coolant, but it's always been a street car. Every single pass is ever made.
Wow, man, that's quick. That's quick. So you said you called him, but did you say how you guys met?
We met at Street and Yeet, the inaugural year, I believe, the very first one they did. Just stick shift guys just happened to hang out, and it's kind of funny. So you've probably seen me tag him, CJ Kentucky Roberts. And when we met, he had a friend, and I just forgot his name all of a sudden, but he was from Tennessee. And so I couldn't remember which was which. So I just called one Kentucky and one Tennessee. And for the past, I don't know, was that year and a half, it's just kind of stuck. And that's just what we've been calling him. So
yeah, that's awesome.
We hit it off really good, and I'd say we've been really good friends ever since that first day. So.
Yep. And then, so in the 6 months from the phone call to leaving, you said CJ came by the house for a couple of days, helped get the engine back together, back together, and then you end up putting it in. And then, how many days early did he come? Did he fly in?
What was it? Sunday?
Sunday evening. Yep.
And I think we left Thursday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, when I say getting the car ready, we switched to TBM brakes in the rear. We put the different transmission in. But we did a lot of stuff. Got the trailer ready, built some shelves in the trailer, just a whole lot of stuff. It probably could have been condensed into a lot less, but we kind of goofed off too, and it was hot as crap.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta pick your times to work on stuff when it's really hot like that.
Right.
Especially if you're going to be in the car that long together.
That's right.
So this is off topic, but who ran the radio, or was there a radio?
We sang to each other in the rugged radios.
He's not wrong.
That's awesome.
So the car doesn't have a radio. We have rugged radios, and we plugged it up for just a little while. And it just got annoying. So we just honestly randomly blurred out random song stuff to each other. I mean, I don't know. That's exactly what we did the whole entire time.
That's cool. Sorry, trying to make some notes here for articles later. That's a good one. Singing to each other. Was there a go-to song? That's the real question.
There was. But I'll tell you this. It was I believe a Sexy Red was the person's name. One of her lyrics. That's about as far as we'll go with that.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Wow. So, did you take the same route up as you came back home?
No, sir, we didn't. I went through. I went and dropped him off on the way home. So I guess it would be, I don't know, Indianapolis down was different, but and actually the different border crossing was different as well. We went through north of Plentywood on the way in there. And that was a 5-10 minute border crossing. Where coming home, I forgot where we went through now. Do you remember, CJ?
North Portal.
Yeah, North Portal. Yep, you're right. And that was like a 35-minute process where they split us up and tried to get us to. They searched the car and they tried to get us to do a bunch of, like they were like, "Oh, are you from South Carolina and he's from Kansas?" And we're like, "No, that's not what we said, bud." They were trying to switch it up a lot, but.
Well, you got to watch those hot rodders.
Right, yeah, especially when they come through at midnight in a race car with a trailer on the back of it.
Joe Nichols, sing us the song.
I'll let you handle that one, Kentucky.
No, go ahead, man. It's your time to shine.
That's awesome.
But,
oh my gosh. So, why? So, I guess did you drop him off on your way home? Is that why the difference?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I was going to fly him home, but that would have had him be at my house for a day or two. And he did some map work, and it was like 60 miles out of my way to drop him off. And then we're like, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. The logistics behind a trip like that is pretty impressive when you start looking at even just in a tow truck pulling a hot rod. But now you're starting to figure out like how many miles will your car go on a tank? That's a question. But then also, how do you figure out where to stop? How much fuel did you take? All that.
Yeah. So like I said, we don't have an odometer. I'd say, I think it was like 140-ish miles on a tank we figured out.
Oh my God.
And when I say the fuel pumps get loud or the car cuts off, that's pretty much how we knew we were out of gas. So we had a 30 gallon tank on the top of the trailer. That my buddy Jonathan Haymore fabbed up for me, and we would just pull over the side of the road, throw gas in it, keep going, and we rode on E85 from home all the way to I guess the last stop was somewhere in North Dakota, maybe the edge of Montana, something like that. But we rode all the way into Canada pretty much on E, and as soon as we crossed the border, we found E again and rode all the way home on E.
Wow. So let me explain this to folks. That's 41 minimum, 41 fuel stops for that trip.
Wow,
That's pretty awesome. You guys probably had that down to a science pretty quick.
Pretty much, yeah. Whoever was driving, if we pulled over on the side of the highway, the passenger would just jump out real fast, throw the hose in the side of the car, and we'd roll on. It got sketchy one time. We almost got hit doing this because we couldn't get off all the way on the side of the road. And, that's a great picture. That was about 30 minutes away from the border. And the whole day before, we were smelling fuel, and Bob Guido was with me, and he was smelling it. It was pretty hardcore. We were yanking fuel out of the Holly, CJ was trying to, calm it down. And I'm like, man, we smell raw fuel in this car. And he goes and puts fuel in there, and he looks at me, and this is every bit of midnight. He goes, I made a mess. So
there was fuel everywhere.
It was all in the trunk, and we were freezing. It was probably like, I don't know, 50 degrees. I was in flip-flops and shorts like I always am. But he looked at me and he goes, I made a mess. And then we pulled the battery and everything out, and there was fuel everywhere. We ended up fixing the filler neck had come out of the grommet, and we were just throwing fuel right in the trunk.
Yep. And like 40% of it's getting in the tank. So there's still some getting in the tank. So you don't really, that's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was right before the border crossing too. So I'm sure they smelt that. And that was probably an addition to our issue there.
And your eyes are all red. Like, what's going on? You're talking funny.
That's 100% right. I mean, our eyes were burning. Like it was pretty rough for a while. We were just like, well, maybe it's just running rich, and it wasn't. And then we went to detective mode and found that. So
that's hilarious. Well, let's run through some photos because Ed asked here, was the bumper on the front?
So the car, we ran all the way to Saskatoon with the bumper on it. It was around 205, 210, and I don't mind running it there. But after I realized that the engine's a little hurt and there's zero need to have the bumper on the car, we went ahead and yanked it off and just rode around without it. And it was 160 degrees the whole time. So I was trying to lessen hurting my engine more than I was being that far from home. If we were in competition and I was closer to home, I mean, I would have ran it and dealt with it. But that was the moment on the way home we realized, you know what, screw the bumper. Let's strap it to the roof. Let's hit the road and put her in the wind.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is a really cool shot. I'm sure you got some real looks as you passed people, or they passed you, and the front bumpers up here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got plenty of
lights and everything
taken of us all the time.
Yeah. It would be fun. I guarantee you there's some local bad driver Facebook groups in some cities there that have photos of this car up there with the front end all off and everything.
It wouldn't surprise
a
me.
trailer. Yeah. That's funny. Let's run through some of these pictures real quick, and then we'll get into some of the other questions here. One of the ones that popped up to me is this one. What the heck is this about, dude? Like,
you want to take the lead on this one, CJ?
So, I don't remember. Was that Saskatoon? The last day it was, yeah.
Yeah, Thursday night, yeah.
So we needed a hotel. Taylor's like, "Ooh, I got us one. This looks like a nice place." We were all in there, and you want to talk about rough? There was people out dancing and
man,
passing some cigarettes around that had a funny smell to them. So
nice.
It was a travel lodge. And if so, I got long hair, and if I don't have conditioner, I get a little cranky. But if I walk in and a hotel don't have the 3 large size bottles of shampoo and conditioner and body wash, it's a red flag.
You walk back out. Hey, listen, where's my nice stuff? I'm surprised you don't carry your own products around with you.
That's what I told him.
Yeah.
I like to stay in a little nicer joints than the old travel lodge that has to post these types of alerts out.
Yeah. For the folks that are listening on the podcast, this is literally something that's on the desk that says, due to past events, please do not pleasure yourself in rooms for management. Yeah, that's pretty good. So looks like you're fixing something here at a gas station. You got the front of the car jacked up. What's going on here?
What was that? That was on the way there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't the drive shaft incident. That was something else there. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's the burn down box was full. We emptied like a gallon and a half out. Yeah, we had some blow by, I guess you could say, and it was probably a good gallon and a half of water and oil coming out of the catch can. Where I have a big catch can. It's probably every bit of, I don't know, 3 gallons or so, maybe more. But I just never thought to empty it. So I didn't, and it was completely full.
It was like leaking. You're like, what is going on here? What's happening here?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, this looks like a shot with you and Pat Miker. Somebody had asked earlier what you thought of Pat's car. So, yeah, Rich Guido saying, how was Pat Miker's car?
Well, CJ rode it more. I'll let him take the lead on that.
Man, that thing is wild. Watching him drive the Lenco and the way he shifts that thing, he's got that thing down to a science. Leg room on the passenger side, 0. You got an MSD box right in your lap. So my props go out to Bob for riding in that thing all week long. And,
so
I would have tore half that wiring out with my feet trying to get comfortable.
Oh yeah, I did that with Jonathan Stonecipher. He had his MSD box up against the side, and I knocked the power wire right out of the side of it. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, so I would imagine the same thing. So is it like a panel that he's got set up there, or is it kind of all mounted there for legs to go over it?
I think Bob said he puts his foot on top of the MSD box, but yeah, I'm not sure. I just kind of kept my feet back because I didn't want to break nothing. But
Yeah.
that car is really, really awesome. It street drives surprisingly well for
It
as
really
quick
does.
and gnarly as it is. I mean, it rides good, so it's an impressive car.
Wow.
And Pat is a super good dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge props to him. We'd never met him before, and he let us jump in his, I'm sure, 6-figure stacker setup and just change our transmission kind of out of the blue. Huge appreciation to that, because it would have sucked on some gravel and on our backs. Because
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but half of Canada is gravel. So, it's funny. I went into the first drag strip and I looked at CJ and I'm like, man, this is not what we have at home. So I'm creeping in first gear as slow as I can. By the end of the week, we're all but drifting in second gear out of there. We just kind of owned it. It was what it was. But yeah, huge props to Pat and all those guys for taking us in for the week. That's what made it enjoyable for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why did you change transmissions, and did you have one in the trailer already?
Yeah, so I always bring it back up with me, and it's kind of embarrassing to say, but we'll let it rip. So I did a rear end swap and a trans gear set swap in my trans the same time, and I put both of them in, and it whined like crazy. It was just, I got really sensitive ears, and I couldn't handle it. So I got the rugged radios to go over it. But anyway, I told CJ, I said, man, we got to put the regular clutch in and just a synchronized transmission to make it a little more easier on us for the drive up there. Well, I went and test drove it, and I come back and I said, buddy, I'm so sorry. We just wasted all this time, because the rear end was what was whining the whole time.
Oh,
yeah. So we changed the fluid at my house, and it was practically water. Changed fluid, and of course the sound didn't change at all. But I told him, like, I don't know, 5 times, dude, I'm so sorry for wasting that much time changing everything around. It didn't do anything. But the plan was to make that trip up there and have it more comfortable with a synchronized transmission than a regular clutch, and just make it easier on us. But I screwed up there.
well, hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. Last picture for a second. What the heck is going on right here?
That was some. So CJ is an engineer. Let him take the lead on that one.
So the headlights mount in his fiberglass bumper with the factory new edge clips, and so whenever we remove that, we had no way to mount the headlights. So that ain't nothing the old boy from Kentucky can't fix with some zip ties.
Yeah, I mean,
we had to calibrate it in a gas station, but after that, those things were mint.
A little more. You pull up to the building, you're like setting it with a click, 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 click.
I mean, we kind of were. We just pulled down the zip tie a little tighter to calibrate it, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how many hours a day were you guys driving to get there and then to get home?
To get back, all of them up there. Up there, we took our time. But,
yeah, on the way home, it was 41 straight hours of pretty much driving, and we got fuel, food, and the border fiasco. But other than that, it was pretty much 41 from leaving everybody at dinner in Saskatoon to making all the way home.
Wow, 41 hours, dude. That's intense.
My man left me hanging. He had 36 hours. I did the last 5 by myself. And the whole time I'm like, trying to stay awake the whole time. It was rough.
Oh, I guarantee it.
All right, so we got you guys talking about going there and back. How'd the week go?
Lord, it started off awful. We made a hit, and it was a 640 pass, and we spun. And when Rich told me to bring a set of slicks, I should have listened, first of all. But I'm like, man, my car don't really spin much. I got this. I was wrong. But I made a call to a buddy of mine, Josh Davis, and Scott from Drag Week, and got some suspension settings. And the car dead hooked the second time. But when it dead hooked also, it ended up burning the plug, and we're down on compression after that. So we just decided at that moment either to go home or just go hang out with the guys all week. And that's kind of why it turned into a vacation in a very inconvenient car.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
what was your plan after that? There was something in the post that you put that I want you to say out loud. I don't want to say it for you. What was the plan after that for the week?
So with my car, we either on drag and drives, we either win one or we DNF them. So I was like, I've got to win something. So my goal at that point was to be dead last in sixth shift. I'm out of competition beyond, many seconds at this point. I think day one we were sitting fifth with that 640. And like I said, the car has been 520. But the next day, I think I turned a 1295 in, and then a 17 something. And then the last one, I forgot that I was supposed to go slow. And at the end of it, I slammed the brakes and crossed the 8th mile stripe at 23 mile an hour, I think it was, to make sure I was going slow. And I still don't think I actually got that last place. I think there was like 3 people below me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I tried really hard to do that, but we finished. So that's all that matters in my book.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great story, dude. And to take that, a little bit of lemons there, and because that's the other thing about driving that far, you really got to play the game of like, how would you get that home at that point?
Yeah, our only thought was get a U-Haul, throw the drag and drive trailer in the back of it, and just haul the car home on another U-Haul trailer. But we just really hoped that didn't happen. And thank the Lord we were safe, and that didn't happen.
Wow. Well, so that's a little bit of the stuff there. There's an important question that I have to ask both y'all, and you can be honest. Was there a moment when you thought this was a bad idea going together, and did you fight?
I don't know. You go ahead, CJ.
Maybe during the way or on our way back, I was thinking, man, my butt is killing me. Why did we do this? The way back is always the worst because on the way up there, you're just excited. During the week flies. And then when you're traveling back, it's like, man, I got to go back to work and all these thoughts. So, but as far as fighting, I mean, I'm sure I got on his nerves, but I had a blast. He never got on my nerves, and I never got upset that I can remember other than when I didn't have any air conditioner to go in my hair, and that's about it.
That's awesome.
Route stop up there.
I didn't hear.
What was like your favorite route stop up in Canada up there?
I'd say probably that hotel. I think you got a picture of it. Not the Travel Lodge. Not that one. No, not the Travel Lodge. There was I think it's Rose something hotel. We didn't stay there very long, but it was that was a cool spot there too. But the hotel, it's actually a couple of those pictures are from that area. Maybe I didn't send you the right one. I'm sorry. I think I sent you 2 separate things, Mike, on there.
Oh yeah, hang on. I only had the first one opened up last time.
My phone's full of memory, so it's not acting right now. But the Rose Deer Hotel was pretty cool, even though we didn't stay there very long. But it had like 11 bridges. It was a kind of a backwoodsy area. I think they call it the Badlands. It was like we're on the valley in the middle and pretty mountainous on each side of us. It was really cool. But
I don't see that one. But let me do this. We've got about another 15 minutes here. I want to run through these that you sent, and I know there's some of these that'll be some that people have already seen, but there's some good stuff in here. Almost there. Hang on.
Dylan Merkel, is that his name? Anyways, his shop was awesome. He had a little bit of everything, and everything was unique there. Plus, super good dude, and they had all dressed chips for us. So.
They had what?
It's called all dressed.
Yeah, so Canada's got a couple things that we don't have as far as chips. They got ketchup chips, and they got all dressed or all seasoned chips. And we were into those. I think we killed like 4 or 5 bags the whole time we were there.
All dressed chips. I thought that was some kind of like poker chip or something. I was like, what are you talking about? So it looks like obviously you got to meet up with Rich Guido here. That's this picture here.
Yeah, that was dinner right before we left as we're getting in the car to leave. So we left at, I don't know, it's probably 7:30 at night, and we made it right there 4 hours later.
And then, yeah, this one here, this we talked about earlier. This is a good shot. And then leaving the USA, how did this feel? What was the feeling as you pulled up to the border in your hot rod and you're like, we're fixing to not be home?
For me, being in my own vehicle, I was pretty nervous because, you know, I've never went across the border in a car before. We were preparing 30 minutes out. You got your passport, got your license ready, you know, got our story straight. I mean, we're not doing anything wrong, but we just want to make sure we're legit, so to speak. But it was probably no big deal to him being in somebody else's car. Like, oh well, the car gets taken. Oh well.
Yeah, if it's impounded, I guess we'll rent one.
Right.
It wouldn't have been nearly as much fun.
Yep.
This looks dangerous.
Oh, that was stupid as all get out.
Middle of West Virginia somewhere.
Yeah, so that's 3 hours into our drive. We're already in this from home. Like, we just left the house, and it's just sun coming up. 3 hours into the drive, and he's all but got his head out the window looking. And we're every 30 seconds we got a towel in the window. I mean, it was a rough hour and change.
Oh, I guarantee you. Yeah, that's intense there. And then what's this here?
That's that same the border crossing there. That's very similar to the area where the Leaving USA picture was taken.
That's cool.
The guys going into Canada were really cool with us, and they let us get out and take a picture of the car and whatnot. So it was pretty neat. But coming back was a different story.
Now, were they Canadian? That I guess you were, yeah. And then you were coming back, and was the U.S. guys tough, or was the leaving Canada guys tough?
No, leaving Canada was gravy. I bet it was 7 minutes that we waited, maybe. And the guy actually looked up the event we were going to as well, to kind of make sure our story was right. But
did he say, "Do you know Rich Guido?"
It's funny you say that, because I told him that's how he goes, "How do you know about this event in Canada?" And I said, "My friend Rich Guido told me about it." And he was like, "How do you know him?" I was like, "Well, I met him at Sick Week, and I do social media and yada yada." And, "How do you know this? How do you know that?" And I'm like, "Man, this is a little much."
Wow, interesting.
So this picture is one of my favorites. Probably my favorite picture. I think CJ took this one of the whole week. So Rich's dad, I believe, is 81 or 2. I think he's going to be 82 soon. And every single pass Rich made, he was sitting there right there the whole time, rooting for his boy. It was just the coolest. I don't know. This is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. The father-son combo there is pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%.
If you ever get a chance to talk to him, Mike is just an awesome guy.
Yeah,
he really.
His laugh is so contagious. It's awesome.
Yeah, he's one of the best dudes you'll ever meet, and is truly having a blast all the time.
Always
smiling 24/7.
Yep. Well, if I keep going this slow, we're gonna run out of time. So I'm gonna move through these a little bit. Give us some quick recap here. What the heck happened here?
Got home and was weirdly motivated after all this, and said it's time to get rid of the 2-valve. So I completely yanked it out in about, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours, and all the wiring, and now it's all gone, or going to be gone, I should say.
Right. How long till we find out what the next setup is?
I already posted about it. It's a big block Chevrolet K-Swap 2JZ LS Coyote.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a big block Chevrolet Coyote heads and 2JZ cams. Cool.
Yeah, there you go. I'll do it soon. I'll do it very soon, probably.
Perfect. And people can find that obviously on yours or the Hedrivk 03 YouTube channel, probably.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Sweet. And then the Miles of Mayhem banner on the windshield, bro. I feel like that's a badge of honor for this car. Is this when you got home, or is this? I guess this is when you got home, or close to.
This is my house here. I actually bought another sticker to put on my trailer because those stickers always come off the windshield. But I'll be quick. I got home. I took an hour nap, took my wife to dinner for her birthday, came back and slept 16 straight hours after that.
Yeah, CJ, what about you? You been to sleep yet?
After he dropped me off, from the time he dropped me off to the time I walked into work Monday, I was asleep for 4 hours, or awake for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I slept the entire day Sunday and Sunday night.
That's awesome. We talked about this photo. Dude, how gross is that?
That's awful. And it was every day a whole new batch of bugs. Like it was pretty rough.
Ugh, that's nasty. And then we talked about this one a minute ago with it being on the roof. That's the best story, I think, coming out of the week. And then what's going on right here? You guys getting some shade there?
Hiding from the wind. That place was crazy.
Well, there's nothing in the background. I mean, you can see that. I didn't know if that was maybe Taylor there with his socks and sandals on.
No, that's Rich's dad, and I just thought it was cool to. They were talking the whole time, and I just snuck a quick picture. I thought it was cool to have Rich's dad and CJ there talking.
That's pretty cool. I thought that was an arm when we were going through that while ago, dude. That's your leg.
Yeah, man. Big boy's limber, ain't
he? Yeah, that's pretty impressive right there for sure. Wow.
Until I got a cramp and had to bring it back down. But
so you have a 750 cage in that car, right?
I do. Yep. Right to the left of that picture is the funny car hoop bar.
Yeah, I would imagine that'd be pretty tough. This is one of my favorites that you've posted or sent here because just the scenery that's there is pretty cool, man. That's a great backdrop and just looks awesome with the front end off the car.
Yeah, that was near that hotel I was talking about. That was the same road we were on for the hotel, so it was a really neat scenic route there. It was like that for 30 plus minutes.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. We talked about the Pat Miker photo a minute ago. Oh, you guys both look really happy here. What the heck's going on?
Where was that? Is that Indiana or something like that, CJ?
No, I can't remember if that was North Dakota. That's where all that big water park and stuff was.
Oh, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Dells. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. That was on the way there. We were already over it.
I bet. We talked about this one being the overflow or the catch can, and then gear swap. Is this in the? No, that's not in the toter.
No, that's Jeremy Howell's shop. We happened to give him a call and just asked him if he had a gear. We didn't even ask at that time really to use his shop, and he got us a gear out of his car. It was already out of his car, but he gave us access to every single thing there. Had oil. Everything we could ask for. We're grateful for that opportunity to switch the gear. Cool.
And he owns Fat House Fabrications, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir. Yeah, he's got the blue flat fox body.
Oh yeah, that car is
probably some yellow on that car now, but.
Yeah. So we're trying to set the pattern. We're already wore out. We're trying to set the pattern on it, and we ended up putting the pattern yellow paint everywhere. I mean, the trash can was completely yellow. It was a time.
It was bad.
Wow. So this is on the way there. So you guys literally leave, and then you're changing gears in the shop. That's crazy.
Yeah, that goes back to that mess up of me and my transmission deal, and we just kind of couldn't take it no more, and decided to give Jeremy a call, and he was gracious enough to have us.
Wow, that's
until midnight as well. We were there till midnight at his place.
Wow. Well, that's the last photo in that I think batch of stuff that you sent.
Okay.
Pretty cool, man. Like I think you posted trip of a lifetime. I mean, I think that's that's so cool to be able to take that. So, timeline, like how long did it take you to make the round trip?
I guess it was 12 days from my house to back to my house, maybe 11 or 12.
Wow, dude, that's a long time.
Wow.
And we drove through after we left Jeremy's house. We ended up driving through the night. It was already midnight. There's no point in even stopping at that point. So we just kept driving through the night there.
Right.
It would have been probably 2 extra days if we would have got a couple more hotels when we probably should have. But we definitely didn't do the smart thing there. We just kept driving. Pulled over to off rent one time, took a 30-minute power nap, and kept on going.
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest parts. What the heck? What? Hey, I'm here. Hang on. Nope. Hey,
Hey.
what's going on? There we go.
Oh,
Sorry.
there we go.
Oh, we're touching stuff. What are you doing?
You getting ready with us already?
I think he's preparing for if I'm getting alerts on my side about my internet, so I'm nervous I'm going to drop off. So I'm like, man, pay close attention. I have full faith in Redhat Scotty though. Well, what haven't we asked about, and what should we as we wind down the show here?
Are you guys planning on going back and trying again for redemption?
I don't know when it will happen, but I plan to, and I'd love to have all my buddies bring all their cars. I mean, I'd love for CJ to bring his car instead of being my co-pilot. I'd love having him. And speaking of that, him coming out a few weeks before, coming a few days before, and just being a trooper the whole time, I'm super grateful for that. And it was awesome just to have a good friend, somebody who roots for me just like I root for him, and we're not in competition with each other and that kind of thing. And it was just a really cool experience just to have a good friend with you the whole entire time, and I appreciate that, CJ.
Appreciate it, man. It was a ball.
I bet. Well, y'all, I want to say thanks for being here. Thank you for spending time with us tonight. This is again probably one of my favorite stories of the year. Just the the trip. You know, Rich Guido is an inspiration to a lot of folks to just literally get in their car and drive it. You don't have to have a truck and trailer to get to all these events, and you know, it's really a good way to shake down something. I mean,
Yeah.
You had a lot of time to run the shakedown there.
100%. Yeah, my buddy Rod calls me No Test Taylor, and I guess driving to the Dragon Drive is my test time.
Yeah, right. That's 100% true. Well, all right, guys, stay here with me. I'd like to talk just real quick backstage about some stuff we have coming up, and let me and Scotty close this thing down.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys. Scotty, have you had fun tonight, dude? I feel like I've kind of ran away with it, and I apologize. That's the way I do Eric too. So I appreciate you being here.
No, thanks for having me on. I'm glad I could come hang out and be a part of it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And guys, you can see all kinds of cool stuff at Scotty's Questionable Performance Solutions page. Find all the fun, cool stuff that you guys are doing there. Real quick, just like a 1-minute recap of what you guys are doing in the shop right
now. Currently, we're in between getting my car ready for 2.0, and then we've been working on the dude's Grandpa Buick Fairmont. We just got it back together, and we took it out for a successful test drive just the other night. So we're pretty excited about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Mr. Fro, dude, thank you for running all that stuff. Thank you for showing the comments, guys. Let's give a round of applause to Fro for tonight for taking care of all the comments.
You didn't even need me.
Kind of dude, it was great having you back there. I appreciate it. It made me feel better, if anything.
I tell you what, any chance I get to help, I truly enjoy, everything you guys do for this show. If nobody's ever done this before, if nobody's ever seen how this is done, there's so much that goes into it behind the scenes that you have no idea about. And honestly, Narcs had all of this put together before we even started the show. Most of what happened tonight, other than like when something got screwed up and it was just Narcs on the screen, like that was mostly Narcs. He's really good at this. But cheap plug, I'm going to throw in. Go check out Gearhead Perspective. Thank you for having me on the show. Yep. Go and support everything that has to do with this hobby that we're a part of, because it once you start getting into some of these events, you go around, you meet guys like Redhat Scotty, you meet guys like the guys we talked to tonight. It's just a huge world, and it just keeps getting bigger every time you go out.
Yep, that's for sure. All right, well, I'm going to throw you guys backstage and end this thing right here. Thank you both for your time tonight. Please don't leave. We're all going to talk here in just a second. All right, guys, listen, I said it earlier in the show. Thank you so much for being around here, y'all. This has been awesome to have folks come on and help me do this tonight. Race car friends it's what I say all the time, but those two dudes, big time help. I sent Eric a message about halfway through the show. I said, man, I miss you. I hope you're having fun. And him and I have talked several times each day that he's been on vacation, but I'm trying to give him a break. But if you guys will help me, jump in there, give him a comment, or send him a message, tell him you miss him. It's a lot of fun, but I'm telling you, that dude works super hard behind the scenes, keeping everything rolling around here. So thank you all for the shares tonight. Thank you all for all the comments. We had a great night of all of that stuff and a lot of great questions. And then thank you so much to our sponsors for making all of this possible. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Can't do it without all of those guys taking care of us. And again, updates are coming very shortly on the Circuit 2025. It's going to be a blast. Get it on your schedule, April 3rd through 6th. All right, guys. See you on